So we've gone through, we've created our design that we're going to be working with for our controller, which is fantastic. The next step that we need to do now is make that an orthographic drawing. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to make sure that we've uploaded the template that I've added to the assessment. So if you have a look, I've got that down in my downloads because I've grabbed it off the assessment. You're going to then come over and make sure that you've got your data panel open and you're in the task. So don't be in the recent project or your recent data. Find your project that you're in. It possibly is default or admin project. For me, I'm doing mine in engineering. I made a folder, and for this one, I'm working in the robot arm. So I've got a bunch of stuff that I've been working with for you guys there. But from there, I'm going to go upload. And then if you've got it here, you can literally drag and drop it across. And then you can upload that there. So then you should see it uploading through. You can see the progress as it goes through. And now that's ready to go. So that's once that's in my data panel and my files, I can then access that when I go up to File, New Drawing from Design. And that'll bring this little panel over on the side here. And I can choose my templates. If it doesn't show up here, you can go browse into the robot arm and find it there. But I've got one that I've already added, so I'm not going to add it again. But you can see that I've got my second template that I just uploaded there. So that's there. I'm going to choose from that template, and it automatically then chooses the options that we need here. You can leave everything as that sheet creation there is fine. Yeah, I don't think it should matter, and then we go OK. And then this often takes a moment. So it'll then load up the drawing panel. And then there's a few things that we need to do once this sets up so that we're ready to be able to develop our drawings. So you can see by default, it's given us a item to upload. The general format that we want to have is the thing that has the most detail goes as our, what we call the front view. Now, the way I drew this is obviously the top view, but it's the object that has the most detail on it. So find a scale that will work quite well with this. So I think the 1:1 in this case is fine. If you made yours a little bit larger than mine, you might need to go to the 1:2. But you can see they're probably the main options. Having the hidden edges doesn't really matter for our designs at the moment, but often in orthographic drawings, that's what you want. So I'm going to hit OK on that, and that's now loaded that. So you can see now that's the part that's sitting there. So I can move him around where I need. About there is probably good. So that was the base view. What I need to do now is I want to add some projected views, which will allow me to take this one and draw it out to show the side, show the top, and then a pictorial view. If I then hit that little tick, they are now there. Now, with any of the views that we have there, we can actually go through and adjust those. So by default, it takes the style of the parent. But for the pictorial view, having the shaded with the outline in possibly making it a little bit smaller, it's more for a reference. It's a nice thing to add on. If you're doing it by hand, you don't normally add that, but because it's so easy on the computer, we do. So now I've got that. You can see we've got a few other options over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is probably not add the titles, but you can see it's got all the key information down here in the bottom corner. So you can see I've got the name of it that's automatically drawn. If I need to add something else, I can add more information there as well. So I could have, or often I'll have those as capitals. Orthographic, ortho. Let's see if I can spell it correctly. Okay, so that's there. I can then move that around so he sits in front there. The ones that I've got there are the automatically created stuff, which hopefully makes life a little bit easier as we're creating our drawings. But the other things I need to be able to add on is some geometry. So I can add center lines. So if I need to, I can add in the center lines on the other images for my circles. Now in this case, it's probably not super helpful, but if I wanted to, I can then grab my dimensions. I'm going to then, the shortcut is D, just like it is on the drawing pane. Make sure that we draw those over there. So I've got mine at 2.65 because I want to be able to, if you get the center of it, it will try and draw distances from there to somewhere else. So if I wanted to show how far it was from there, that's probably not a bad thing. Generally, we're going to try and have the measurements off to the side. So you can see he's off there. And I could even add in the center marks for these as well. So we can get our center marks for the circles. And I probably need to add the dimensions for the other guys through there as well. So we've got our center marks. You can even do the arcs there as well. And we keep building up the dimensions that we would need to have on here so someone else can then recreate it. So I would be able to then, so that I've got the radius there, let's add the length there. We probably need to have I've got my center marks there, so you can see that they all line up, so I can identify where they are. But the other thing that we were struggling with before was the dimensions of these guys. So I can add my dimensions like we did. I've got those already. Let's go that way. So we want to go through and add each of the key dimensions as we go through, and then if it starts getting busy, we can then kind of move things around to make sure that we can see clearly what we're looking at. But that's kind of the idea. I want to be able to get all of the dimensions that I require to be able to develop this drawing. So most of our dimensions are going to be on that front view. We might have the thickness of the material on the top one. And the last thing we want to be able to add is our front view labels. Front view. Let's go side view. Generally, again, these are capitals, like all caps for the front view, top view, side view, and then top view. So that has most of the key information we need. There's probably a few more measurements that I would need to include in over here, but you've got most of the bits that I need to be able to recreate that. And you need to do the same for yours. So thinking about all the measurements you've added in to be able to recreate your design. Once you finish that, you've got your dimensions, you've got your center lines for any circles or arcs. So you can see on this side we've got, if I go to that center line there, we've got our nice little mark in the middle. So if I needed to, I could actually do some measurements from that point as well. So if I wanted to be able to work out how far it is from the center mark to there, I've got those dimensions as well. So it starts getting a little bit busy at times, but if you need, we've got some nice little ability to be able to make items sorted out like that. So once we've finished it, I want to export it as a PDF. So I select that one. If you want to then check it, you can open it, but line weights is good. We want all sheets. I mean, in this case, we've only got one, but you can then select which ones you want, and we go okay. And then it's going to give you the option of what you want to call it. So this is going to be my controller orthographic. And if you want to add your name to the end, that's not a bad thing. And I'm saving it to my computer just to download so that I can move it where I need to later. You can select that one and change where it is. I find I'm quite happy to grab it from downloads and then throw it where I need to. For you guys, it'll be uploading it to Sector to be able to submit it. You hit save, it will then process that, and you can see in my downloads I've got that has created at the top of that. From there, you're finished with your drawing.